Okay, hello Internet. My name is Zach Vokey, and I am the founder, builder, and creator of Vokey guitars. I'm joined today by two of my favorite guitar players. Thanks for coming out, guys, and just demoing some gear with me. I'm really excited about just hearing you guys play this guitar because I've heard myself play it way too much.
So I'm Matt Cameron. I met Zach a year and a half or so ago.
Yep.
And we played together in a band called Revival for a little bit anyway. It was a sweet season playing together in that band. Got into guitar playing when I was 16. Started learning, just love guitar.
Let's talk about your setup today.
So I'm playing through a Line 6 Helix LT, and the sound that I have running today, I tried to mimic my Mesa Boogie F50 combo.
Give us some of that. What does that sound like?
A little blast here.
We're recording everything today straight to Reaper. Cameron is using my studio monitors for some room ambience. We have this condenser mic picking up some room, so just for audio, for speaking later and editing. And then yeah, we're taking a direct feed and recording it in Reaper here.
Right, I'm Jackson Repetsky. I've been playing guitar for a little over 6 years now.
Yeah.
I met Zach a couple months ago and connected, which was super great. Invited me to come down and play these guitars, and I mainly got into music through my grandpa. He's a huge music fan, and kind of passed that on to me, all the good stuff like Dire Straits or whatever.
Yeah.
All the 80s stuff, all the good stuff, Clapton or whatever. And, that kind of ignited my love for guitar, and
Yeah, weird.
super cool.
But you were also using a Helix.
Yep.
And that's my understanding is you use that a rack unit for most
sure.
of your stuff.
Yep.
Don't
know what's going on with this one.
Yeah, this is my personal setup. So we've got the Helix going 4-cable method right now. So we're wireless to the Helix, and we're using an effects loop to loop in the Hughes and Kettner Statesman. This is the EL84 model. It's got 4 tubes. It's 4 EL84 tubes that
Nice and loud.
is extremely loud. So we've kind of dialed it back. We're mostly just going to use it clean today. It is a 2-channel amp. We got an SM58 on there. I didn't have a 57 lying around, so we're using a 58.
Gets the job done.
Gets the job done.
It's the same capsule inside.
It's the same, that's what they say, right?
Yeah.
This one's dented, so it's perfect for a cab. Nice. Yeah, let's talk about the guitars, the thing that we're more or less here to talk about. So, this is version 1. You guys aren't really as familiar with it because I don't pedal this one as often, but it is the first iteration, and even though the other ones have changed a lot since this is kind of what inspired a lot of what I was doing in the first place. So as you guys can tell, it's got a flame maple cap. The volume and tone position is very similar. Pickups are Seymour Duncan / Amico 2s. I'm pretty sure that's why they're /2s. Good pickups. Overall, really suitable for rock. Pickup selectors up here like a Les Paul would. You can kind of see I'm going for a little bit of that Les Paul vibe on this one. The actual back is a one-piece mahogany back, which is really pretty all done up like this. You can see I've got a shaved heel on this one here, so this is kind of the first version of this neck joint that you guys are playing. It's got the hockey stick 80s, headstock. It's not reversed, so it's not 100% 80s, but it's close.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool, but it's pretty dated looking in some ways. So that's where the other ones kind of come in.
Cool.
Right on.
Sweet.
Well, let's I guess we'll move on to V2. We'll go through it.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the changes. So basically, I wanted these guitars to try to toe that line between what feels vintage and what feels modern.
Mm-hmm.
These guitars are they're an attempt at doing that. Part of why I'm giving so many options is because everybody's definition of what that is completely different.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to approach this, and I wanted to approach like a pretty typical build process, which means a very like approachable looking guitar, something that doesn't offend the vintage guys that are just like, I only will play vintage. It's not pointy, or it doesn't have sharp curves, it doesn't look like it's made out of plastic. Those were things that I was trying to do. So we'll talk about the finish. This one is done in a Olympic white, and then it's got a gloss on top of it. So that's why this one has a little bit more sheen to it than the other ones do.
Mm-hmm.
I dropped the clear coat, not because I didn't like it, but I preferred the look of a clean, pure paint looking guitar.
Right.
And I found it lent itself to the wood grain better than this does. So everything's nitrocellulose. I'm doing it because I wanted them to age. So the big thing that's, like, as you guys know, people are buying like guitars that look like they've been dragged behind buses.
Yeah.
Right? And they love that stuff. And I kind of love the look of it. I love the look of a beat up guitar. It's great when you start to wear one in. I love that. To me, that's great. And so for me, with the way that I did these guitars, I wanted them to wear over time. I wanted them in 50 years to look like a 50-year-old guitar. A lot of issues that people are talking about with these newer finishes, the polyurethane-based finishes, they don't really wear the same way. They kind of haze, but they don't crack. They don't do any checking. They don't collect sweat and grime the same way that nitrocellulose does. So for me, it was important that these guitars wore like that. So even this one, if you look at it on the side, you can start to see where the pick marks are actually starting to dull the finish. And that's what I want. I want them to do that. I want them to chip. I want them to get marked. You know, I don't want these to be show ponies in the sense that they always look pristine. I want them to look like the gigging musician's guitar. Going to the neck, you can see on this one, this is a plain maple neck. I've stained this so that it has less of a yellow to it, more of an orange. This is 5 coats of tung oil on it. With the fretboards, you guys have seen I offer like 3 different types, and we've got 2 of them here. This is an ebony board. I get it from Black Forest Wood Co. in Calgary, so they're really great. Moving more to the headstock here, you guys will notice here this swoop is actually a little deeper, goes further. I've changed it since then, because it looks more like mountains on the other ones. And then I've since moved from the imitation mother of pearl to real mother of pearl. And then, yeah, this one features Goto locking tuners. All of the guitars have locking tuners, unless you have the Floyd Vote, or the Goto 1996T, because it has a locking nut. This one has, some really great 2-stroke humbuckers in it. It's a modern voicing humbucker by Peg City. Shout out to Peg City Pickups. Chris is a legend, makes amazing stuff.
I'm on the bridge pickup right now. The both. This whole guitar is really well thought out. It's like, I've been borrowing it now for a little while, several months, because Zach let me prep for a show with it that we did together, and then I just kept it for a while after. Yeah. And it's been a really like this guitar wants to be played, so it's a pleasure to practice with.
So, like you're mentioning the splits, and Jackson didn't know that these splits.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's a feature that for me, when we talk about a playable guitar, we want a guitar to feel like it can move into almost anything. They want to be able to take one guitar and go into any situation. For some reason, on these guitars, the sum of its parts, when you go into split coil mode and you go into that in-between position, like me and Jackson were talking about a little earlier, it sounds super close, super good. They're actually super like responsive.
Yeah,
for
they sound
a single
incredible.
coil. So it's actually a really great sounding setup. And then of course I went with a push instead of a push-pull, because when you're sitting on stage, it's a lot easier to hit something than try to like pull it up. A lot of people have asked me, why is it on an angle? Why they're on an angle is they're more designed for playing standing up.
Yeah.
That's why I have them, so that basically when you stand up and this guitar levels off, those controls are just about level. This is flat, and then it feels like you can just reach over and actually just touch both controls. You know, Tellys, generally, they have it here, but I have always been a guy, probably because I grew up on Les Pauls, I need this area clear.
Yeah.
I do not want to be hitting controls. Jackson, let's talk
Yes.
about version 3 here. So you've been hanging out with it for 25 minutes now.
Tons of experience.
So those are the 2 strokes. And then these are what Chris calls the True North Humbucking set.
Okay.
So it's very similar to his 59 PAF series.
Right.
Except they have a different set of magnets in the neck pickup. So
I'm using a Rev preset. This is the bridge pickup. Middle position. Here's the split positions. Pull the volume back a little bit.
yeah,
That sounds
they're
amazing.
pretty freaking great. I mean,
Sound unreal.
yeah, they just sound really good. Like we were talking about. Basically, on this guitar, like we already covered most of the changes here from one to the other. That one has a rosewood fretboard, Indian rosewood fretboard. That's what I use on pretty much everything. The difference with this one is it's got a different neck profile. So why don't you flip that bad boy over there? Yeah. That is like basically as high figured maple as I can find.
Right. It looks amazing.
It does the tiger striping thing really, really well. It's got a high gloss neck on it, so it feels almost sticky compared to some of the other options I have.
Right.
Some people like it like that. That's just a preference they have, so I figured I'd figure out how to do it. Difference as well here is the control plate is made out of the same material.
Right.
Versus this one has the black plastic. It felt like the right move based on all the other design choices I was making to go to a wooden backplate.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'm also using Allen head screws on that one, so you can see they're actually bolt insets. So the way that attaches is it's actually a real bolt, not just a screw.
Gotcha.
Because screws wear out all the time, whereas these bolts they tend to work really, really well long term. So that's
More
a change.
durable for maintaining your stuff.
Yeah. So the ZV logo was something I did actually, like, I just decided to do it one night. I just was like, I need something that feels like a signature on this guitar, because I want people to feel like, okay, he hand built this thing, but here's like a handmade signature. So that there is done freehand. I traced it out by hand, and then I used my Dremel tool and freehand it by myself. Like that's what is going on there.
Sweet.
So each of them, guitar to guitar, will look just a little bit
different.
And I liked that, and really actually my wife suggested that I don't make a template for it,
Yeah.
that I do it so that each one of
It
them
keeps them very unique.
looks a little bit different. Everybody's getting a slightly different signature, right? Yeah, and that is a 62 Strat style of car. So it feels very similar to those necks of that era. This is a Super C, Fender's 92 Super C, kind of loosely. I've made some adjustments to it, but it feels more tapered, less high-shouldered, feels a little bit more, you know, like a modern Strat. This has a flatter fretboard radius on it, so this is a 12-inch radius, and that's a 9.5. So that's more of a vintage spec neck overall. Feels rounder, but it's still very playable. And of course, both of them are using stainless steel frets, because that's, in my opinion, a lot more...
That should be the gold standard.
Yeah, that is, to me, a more superior material to be using nowadays.
Totally.
It can suck to do, but it is really the best.
Yeah.
So how does that feel?
That
like,
feels very nice.
comparing,
kind of classical position stuff. Very nice. I do
comparing
like
the two of them. Like what?
they're very flat. Like the EQ curve of them is very flat, which is nice.
Yeah. So you have less of the dynamic range, but then you've got that tighter response in the low end, and it feels very fast.
Well,
right?
especially for that chunky riff kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The bottom end doesn't
mush out. Yeah, it's really good for that.
Nice.
So it's like you advertise this. They're really great modern humbucking pickups for modern music. V4 actually features a slightly different wood than the last two. So this is brown ash. There's a difference between white ash and brown ash. They're slightly different species of wood. This wood is from Canada. I get it from a supplier. Shout out to Dentremont Guitars. Supply some really great stuff. So this is what the body looks like before I take it on for somebody to order it better. So all of these bodies are 3-piece bodies. I make these myself. I get the wood now as 3 separate planks, and I glue the blank together.
What did you say the profile of the neck is on
It's
this
the
one?
same as V3.
And what's the radius on this one?
So that's a 9.5. So it's a very similar neck to V3. Other than they're basically identical, other than the fact that it's not high gloss. It's a low gloss or a matte finish, as we call it. Feels like satin.
It's my kind of finish.
Yeah.
Tremolo is great.
They're just really dynamic. I don't
Yeah,
know. They're just really nice.
Those chords sound huge.
Yeah, they just
That
make
sounds amazing.
and it sounds like that through every setup, which is really comforting.
Yeah.
The ebony inlay, by the way, that is a tiny thin sheet that I get, and then I cut it and fit it and make it all all works. That is wood in there as well. It's not an epoxy or anything. It's a real inlay of wood.
Sweet.
Kind of a missed opportunity on that one because it actually has an ebony fretboard, so it would have looked really symmetrical having that, but I offer it, you know.
That's unreal.
Yeah, so
The
that's
attention
what
to
that is.
detail on these is amazing.
It is. Well, this one's so well, like, connected, blended in that it just looks like painted.
And I really wanted my headstock to reflect where we are, right? Everybody loves the Albertan Rockies, the Canadian Rockies, whatever you feel like calling it. And I wanted a headstock design that really reflected that. How about you plug into this thing, Jackson, and you do some riffing. Wow.
Well, it sounds fantastic. That sounds amazing.
Woo! There's a lot of low coming out of there.
Talk about this last one, kind of like high level, you know, the difference, but as you guys already pointed out, she's got a maple fretboard. Because this one isn't finished yet, you don't really see all of the nuanced flaming. This is using stainless steel rings for fret markers, which is really hard to put in, but
It looks super cool.
it's super modern. You know, it's not traditional looking at all, but it really fits what this guitar is going to do.
In whites?
Yeah, they're all the same fret wire, all from the three that you guys have been playing. Hi, honey. What are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, here.
Right.
And then, of course, the pièce de résistance on this one is the Godot 1996T. So this is a seriously nice piece of metal. I've done so much research. So that's the trend system I'm using on this bad boy.
Yeah, these necks feel so good.
Yeah, Well, I fell in love with V2, so the one that's on the wall right now.
Yeah.
It's a bit of both. There's, like, comparing it to other guitars that I own, it's enough of a workhorse on its own right that I would pick it. It's very, you can tell that Zach's thought through every part. It all works together really well. It's solidly built. Every part makes sense.
Yeah.
There's nothing jagged about it, like a gimmick. It's more like everything is just there because it needs to be there. It's there because you want it to be that working that way.
Right.
So he's got the bridge like it sustains forever. That's the same with, I guess, both of these, V2 and 3. The tremolo bridge is different, but still seems to sustain quite well.
Very well. These are very nice for the kind of thing I do, and I love the neck on this. I kind of switch in between playing over the neck with my thumb and playing flat behind the neck for that kind of classical position. So this, it kind of has that flat spot right in the middle here that works for both positions quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks super nice. And I love this.
Sure does.
Yeah, it's amazing. That neck is just insane. I probably dropped the Floyd on this one. But this actually, I do love the Duesenberg trem because it's kind of like it responds like a Bigsby, but it feels like I'm used to Goto 510, so that it kind of has that same response. It's more like it's kind of comfortable like a typical tremolo while still responding with the kind of feel that a Bigsby would have. So
sweet.
it's kind of a nice in between kind of thing.
Yeah, and holds its tune better than a Bigsby
Yes,
would.
much better. And
Sweet.
that roller bridge feels amazing. It's so smooth.
Mm-hmm. I really like them though. Those two strokes. That's what was on the V2, right?
Yeah, those that's
Yeah.
the northern.
What are these ones again?
Yeah, those are the true north.